an initial value or initial condition. They're saying that v of 0 is 10, and this will allow us to determine the constant. So always remember, look carefully and then analyze and then decide. Okay, I see that v to negative 3, my first step should be this. Then I say, okay, it's very clear I have to cross multiply. V to the third dv must be 2 dt. I'm happy because t is alone on one side, v is alone on one side, so I can integrate now. And I do remember that I will only put one constant on the right-hand side. Does it matter? It doesn't, really. So the antiderivative of this is v to the fourth over 4. I should put the constant here, but I'll keep it on the right-hand side. And this is 2t plus a constant c. At this point, I can plug it in and say when t is 0, v is 10 to get the constant from here. So this is 0. So then the constant is 10 to the fourth over 4. Or 1,000, 10,000 divided by 4. So I'll simplify by 2, and I get 5,000, and divide by 2, 2,500. You can say, no, I want to wait till the end. Fine. If you want to do that, then let's say we don't even look at this, and you will solve for v. So that's okay. So v to the fourth, I'll multiply by 4, 8t plus 4c. And then v will be, since I'm not told anything so far, I'm given a condition though, I have plus or minus then the fourth root of 8t plus 4c. Now I have to make sure that v of 0 is 10. When I plug in here 0, I have to get 10. So then by that simple analysis, I realize that I cannot have plus or minus. That's not possible. I will say only positive. From here, I know that. So when I plug in 0, I have to get 10, not negative 10. So therefore, plus or minus don't work, only plus. So now I'm finding c. When t is 0, this is 10. So 10 equals the fourth root of 4c. I have no choice but raise everything to the fourth power. And I have 10 to the fourth equals 4c. And I go back to the same thing. C equals 10 to the fourth over 4, which I already determined as being 2,500. So you can stop here and find C and say, no, I don't want to. Maybe it's even better to do it at the end, because if you do it at the end, maybe you have more calculations to perform, but if you do it at the end, then you will realize that there is no plus or minus. You can do that afterwards too, so it doesn't really matter. So then v of t is the function we are looking for, the fourth root of 8t plus 4c is 10,000. So you have options. Very good. So let's look at next. Definite and indefinite we've been working with, but we can do any. Substitution rule we've been working with, but if you want to go back to it, consumer surplus, producer surplus, and the area among curves for between curves. Any questions on this problem? Okay, so let's decide what to do next. The study group is on Monday before the test, so please come if you have any questions. Make a list of questions. Say it again.
Areas between.
So the study group is always from 6. I always send a link before 6. Is that what you were asking?
No, I was saying, can we do the areas between?
Oh. So sorry. Yes. Do you have a problem in mind?
No, I do not.
Okay, so let me find one. Sorry about that. So this is in chapter 4. I'm going back to chapter 4 to find areas. Okay. That is in 4.4. Let me check 4.4. Yes, in 4.4, page 425. Okay. Let's look at 17. 17 on 425. And we're given y equals x plus 2. We are given y equals x squared. Find the area of the region bounded by the graphs of the given equations. Okay. My first step, and this is required, I have to have the graph. My first step is, well, I know what this is. This is a line and this is x squared, right? X squared and a line. So I know they have to meet. So I said y equals, so I have this system. I don't have to write that again. So I have x plus 2 must equal x squared. So first I need to see where they intersect before I even start graphing. And I know that this is a quadratic equation. I have to obtain 2 solutions. I move everything to one side. So I have x squared minus x minus 2. If I put equals 0 here or equals 0 here, it doesn't matter. Nice and easy because I can factor into x minus 2 and x plus 1. Always take a moment. I know it's very simple to do this, but take a moment and check. X times x, correct. X positive 1 minus 2, yes. Negative 2 times 1, yes. It will only take a blink because it's very easy to make the mistake and put plus here and minus here by mistake, right? Accidentally, and then the whole thing collapses and you're not going to be able to graph. So when you quickly factor, or just find the solutions with a calculator if you have any doubts here, okay? But if you write this in a wrong with plus and minus, then the whole thing, you're going to spend a lot of time. You're not going to probably not be able to find, or maybe you will be able to find a solution, but too late. So make sure for a second. It takes 3 seconds to check this. Okay, so then I know that x equals 2 and x equals negative 1. Of course, I will find the y coordinates because I have to graph. The problem is asking me to graph also. So when x is 2, then 2 plus 2 is 4. When x is negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Always check my numbers. Sometimes my mind is on the 5th step from now on, and no excuse. Okay, so I have to see those two graphs intersecting at this point and this point. So now I look at y equals x plus 2, which is easy. It's a line. When x is 0, y is 2. So 0, 2. When y is 0, x is negative 2. So negative 2, 0. So now I have the first graph. And I have the line, which is 0, 2. and negative 2, 0. Before I even plot anything, I'm just going to make sure that 2, 4 is already carved in stone, and negative 1, 1, it's also carved in stone. So x equals negative 2, 0. Yes, that's correct. And 0, 2. Negative 1 for x and 1 for y. Yes, that's correct.
Do you have your negative 1, 1?
That's exactly, yes, that's exactly what I was looking at. I said, how is this possible? Thank you. That's why I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yep, good. That's why I was checking my numbers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good. This is the line. So this is y equals x plus 2. And now for y equals x squared, we know that two, 4. So y equals x squared. And this is the area in question. So then the area must be between negative 1 and 2. Negative 1 and 2. So it's the area between negative 1 and 2 from the upper minus the lower. Please don't write this without all the analysis and without the graph, please. Good. So now from here it's a piece of cake. So I have x squared over 2 plus 2x minus x cubed over 3 from negative 1 to 2. I just want you to plug it in. And you can determine the answer with a number or not at all. It's up to you. So 2 squared over 2, I can say it's 4 over 2, which is 2. And then plus 4. And then minus 8/3. Be very careful now. 1 over 2 minus 2 plus 1 over 3. I'm fine if you just say done. If this is correct, you get 100%. Don't waste your time with the arithmetic. I'm fine. I consider once you correctly put in the function the upper limit and subtract it correctly when you put in the lower limit, these numbers are fine for me. Don't spend more time on this. Any questions on this? Anything else we want to look at?
Can we please do another one on chapter 5, consumer surplus?
Yes, very good. Consumer surplus and producer surplus. Good. So let's take a look. Please remind.
I'm sorry.
Yes?
My microphone wasn't working before, so I was trying to ask a question, but I'm sorry.
Yes, let's go back to any question. If you have something else. Yep.
I'm good now, thank you. Yep.
Okay. So you wanted to do this, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, sure. So do you have a problem in mind or you want me to choose?
You can choose, please.
Okay, so that is in 5.1. Okay. Again, please make sure that you look at all the solutions posted for homework, please. Okay, so I'm choosing 6 on page 480. So d of x equals x minus 8 squared, and s of x equals x squared. And they're asking us to find the equilibrium point and find the consumer surplus and producer surplus at those points. Okay. So first of all, I have to set them equal to each other for the equilibrium point. The equilibrium point, like any point, has to have an x and has to have an y. It's not sufficient to find x and not find the y. So when I set these two equal to each other, x minus 8 squared equals x squared, I expand this, x squared minus 2 times the first times the second, plus the second term squared equals x squared. Very nice. I move 64, and I divide by 16, and I think I get 4. So this is 4. But I have to plug it in. It doesn't matter where I go back to plug it in. This is easier, but it has to be the same number. So 4 squared is 16. So now the consumer surplus is the integral from 0 to 4 of d of x dx minus this product. The producer surplus is this product minus the integral from 0 to 4 from this function, from the supply function. The producer is with a supply, the consumer is with a demand, from x squared dx. And that's it. I just have to determine this, and I have to determine this. Okay? So here you can expand and not have to use any substitution. Here it's very easy. So I'm going to do this one first. 64 minus x to the third over 3 from 0 to 4. And it's 64 minus 64 over 3. I'm fine if you leave it alone. It shouldn't be this difficult, but if you don't want to do the arithmetic and you say this is it, you get 100%. Here, you can come back to it if you have time and calculate that, but you can move on. In other words, during the test. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so this is the integral from 0 to 4 from x squared minus 16x plus 64 dx, and minus 64. So here I have x to the third over 3 minus 16x squared over 2 plus 64x from 0 to 4 minus 64. I only need, luckily, to plug in 4 because when I plug in 0 is nothing. So I have 4 to the third over 3 or 64, doesn't matter. And this is 16 over 2, so it's 8. You can write it like this. And 64 times 4 and minus 64, and you can stop if that's what you want to do. I'm assuming that you can do the arithmetic and you don't need